Ben ilk yazınca çıkmıyor.
Evet, çünkü bazı versiyonlarda rengi oldu.
Aralık
Komutları değişti, rengi olarak değişti.
Aralık da değişmiş mesela.
Değişti, bunun yazma şekli de değişti.
Aynen. Ben sınavda öyle yaptım hocam, aynısı bu.
Doğruysa fark etmez.
Yani şu an benim yazdığım çalışıyor.
Randiye de böyle çalışır ama Randiye öyle çalışmaz ama. Hangisine göre yazdın?
Randiye'ye göre yazdım ben.
Tamam, Randiye göre yazsan Randiye göre doğru. Randiye göre ise Randiye göre doğru.
Kuyruk acısı.
Okay. So you have the ramp functions by doing 2 by 2. Even you just give one number, right? 2 by 2, or you can just give 1 by 2. Based on the ramp. So you have the zeros command that you know, right? You can write 3 or 2 by 4. And you refer to the matrix by 2, 3 or 1 to 2 and 2 to 3. So you can generate whatever you have the subset of the matrix. You can generate the one column, or you can generate the two second rows, and so on, right? And just call what we call linear indexing. You can guess what we said. We can assign the value, and the matrix at the same point, right? So you can do this any time, any ways in the matrix. You can add a column or row, or you can just make a zeros or other things to put. Okay? Length and size functions are very used because you want to know what is the length of the vector, the 4, and what is the size of the vector is giving you the rows and columns, right? Rows first, columns next, always. So it's giving you by the, if you write the command size by using this, you can generate the R and C in this format. So you'll have to use the first number as R and the second as C. So you can obtain the rows and column numbers. Okay? There's also a function numer, number of elements. So it will give you which one number of elements in red. So it is easy if you have the length, right? So its length vector is this one. But what happens if you have the matrix? So number of elements give you the elements in the matrix, okay? So if you have big matrix and things, you will have the number of elements. And there's the end, which refers to the end of the column or the row, right? So it can refer to the first row, end of row, and can refer to the last column of the matrix, okay? So we have the other operators that changing the configuration of matrices. That's called the reshape, flip left right, flip right, upside down, and rotate 90, right? So just take matrix and based on that, you can change it accordingly by reshaping by 2 by 6. Okay, so you have the 2 rows and 6 columns, or from left to right, or upside down. So you can have all the options of changing the matrices, or rotate 90. So you rotate the 90 degrees backwards. Okay. There's also another one, rep mat, which is replicating the matrix. Okay. So you have the same matrix, but you want to make it put everywhere by rep mat and how much you want to. How many rows and how many copies of rows and how many copies of columns you need to. So you need, saying that I have 3 copies of rows, right, and 2 copies of columns. Okay. And we have also an empty vector, which is nothing inside, and the length is 0. Okay, and if you put this another function, so we will have this value, so nothing before. So you can use this for adding and concatenating other vectors.
Onu şimdi telefon kapandı.
Okay, so you have, for example, vector 1 to 5. and you are clearing the third one with empty. Which means that you are removing the third column, and your vector will be now is 4. Okay? 1, 2, 4. So you can also remove some part, 2 to 4, okay? The same thing. But you cannot remove from the matrices, right? Because if you remove this, then there is not a matrix, okay? You cannot remove one. You should remove one row or one column, okay? At least you should remove the total, this part or this part, but not just one. And okay, we said that all functions are doing by column-wise, okay? So if you have a vector like this, the f function will work on the column-wise, so 1 by 1 on the column, okay? And this is also the same for matrices, okay? We'll do the same for 1 by 1 on the matrices. There are also other special functions like mean, minimum, and maximum, sum, product, cumulative sum, and cumulative product, right? So which is giving you the minimum, maximum, the total, summation, multiplication, the cumulative summation, and cumulative multiplication, right? Cumulative product of the functions. But we said that for matrices, all are doing on the individual column, right? So it's by column by column, okay? So we had a max of math. Will give you the maximum of the first column, the maximum of the second column, and maximum of the third. Always in the column wise, okay? So it will give you this. If you have the sum, it is the same. Sum of the first column, sum of the second column, and so on. Right? If there is no other option, by default, MATLAB functions work on column-wise. Okay? If you want to do it in the row-wise, what you do, you transpose. Or what you do, you use the 2, right? The second dimension. You convert to some mat 2, which will be changing the matrix as a 2, and then you will have in the row-wise sum. Okay? Not the column, not the row. Okay? Any questions here? So you can do numerical things that you know. You can divide, you can multiply, you can do whatever you want for the shape and minuses and things. Let's come to the power. What will be the power? It will be scalar function. Okay? So if you need a vector to be able to get the power, you should make the point the dots here. Because you are trying to find the square of every element. Okay? So every element to be done is to make him by a point dot. Okay? If you are trying not to take this matrix form, then you should have the original one. Okay? It is the same for the dot star operation. Okay? So if you have a vector 1 and vector 2, then you are trying to multiply them, but 1 by 1. So you need to put dot. Okay? If you are wanting 1 by 1 multiplication, or 1 by 1 division, right? So it will be the same. Because you know that the matrix can be only multiplied by the inner products are equal, right? So we talked earlier, so it's a 2 by 3, 2 by 4, and the result is 2 by 4. If you do a 2 by 3 times 2 by 3, so you should only do, because they are equal, by using a dot multiplication, okay? And you can obtain the inverse of the matrix, right? By multiplication with the inverse. As we talked earlier. So it is the case, you should have this 1 by 4, 4 by 1, right? You can change the order, but when you change the same matrices, first one, the second, and the second in the first, your result is different. Okay, instead of you getting one number, you'll have getting a 4 times 4 number. Okay, please take care about what you do. Okay, which one to multiply. Okay, you know we have also other cross products that we'll have. And let's come to the algorithm. The simplest case in the algorithm what we wrote in the code is the script, right? MATLAB script. So the algorithm is to obtain program to solve a problem or to obtain a function to work. So what we do, we get the input, we calculate the function to get the results, and then we display the results, right? So it's a computer program doing this, and the MATLAB doesn't use any compiler like C. Okay, this is the advantage of MATLAB. It is all pre-installed functions, so you don't need to compile what you write at C. You just write in the object code as well. So you can just write the script by giving the input, and then you will have the output. Okay, when you call the script again, to give you the output. No function yet. Okay? Just write the script and work it. So you can just give the percentage to give the information. MATLAB doesn't see that, okay, to compute, but sees the information without the comments. So you can all comments are seen when you write the help function. So what you write when the help function is seen that the one who writes the code in the MATLAB is just give you this the place somewhere like this, right? So if somebody has write this and put it in the function, then when you call help, then you can see this information. That's why when you see, for example, help C, the places where they wrote like this is seen when you write help. Okay? Just this part, not the whole function. Okay? So that you can understand what is this function for, how can you use it, what is the example, and so on, right? So what is we have? We have the input and output version of it. So an input is the simple input function is the input. Okay, just you give the input to some variable, and it will do the case asking you the input to enter the input. Okay, then you enter the input. Easy. You just write the input on the screen. So for example, if you write enter a character, that will write you to enter a character, you enter and then it works. Okay? Just gives you the input to obtain this. And you can also have some space here, so you will have some space go there, and you have a string will be go there, which will have spaces are also counted. I have 4 spaces here, and go, so I have the length is 6. Okay? If you write space, you have the space in the string. Okay? If you don't, it doesn't, right? So you write your name, then you can get the input. But if you write the number, and if you give a letter, and it says gives an error, right? Number is numbered, letter is letter. Okay? So what about the other outputs? Is the display. The simple one is display, right? It displays what you have written inside, or what is the result of the function inside. Okay? So the hello or some function that you say just will be the display. Okay? If you need a formatted function of output, then you can use the fprintf for functions, right? For the numbers. So you can write anything, and you put some decimal marker, put some next step, and the value that you want to print. Okay? You want to output.
Hocam bir şey söyleyeyim mi?
Evet.
Mesela burada neden nokta üstü kullanmadık? 4 nokta üstü.
Hangisini?
Display'in içinde mesela 4 üstü 3.
Neden? Var mı yanıt olsun?
Vektör. Vektör yok.
Skalar.
O yüzden.
Zaten tek bir sayı, evet. Okay? So you can have the printf function, which is have the integers, floats, single characters, or strings with some D, F, C, and S markers. Okay? So based on this, you can generate for the integers or things to put, string to put, and /n will be giving you a new line character. So if you have this, for example, you enter the new line x coordinate. So after the enter there's the new line, so it comes to the new line here, right? New line x coordinate. So the result will be just the input. Okay. You can have the same for floats, and you can give the numbers of 2 times, 3 times as you wish. So the first one is decimal, and the float is this. Okay, you give the number 5, and the float is number 4.90. So you can recall many times in the function. Just you need to write is the same order, right? So what you want to write here is 5, right? Comma. What you want to write second is this one, comma, the value of this one. Okay? So you should have these values and the things in order way. Okay, you have the other functions that you can have more here, less there. It's what you define by writing spaces on it. Okay, you give 5 spaces for it, you give -5 spaces for it, and so on. So you can, based on this, you can change the order, how to write or how to spell it. You can also use tab, for example, to obtain some very big space instead of writing 3 or 4 spaces. Okay, so what you can do, you can write the vector as a printf format. Okay, if you write by n, you obtain new lines, but if you don't, you don't, right? You don't open a new one. And if you write another vector again, now you have the printf format. So you can have this vector known, so you can have each one separately, so you can write another.
Hocam bir kez %D kullansak hepsini tam sayı geçirmez mi?
Nasıl?
Bir tane %D koysak hepsini tam sayı geçirmez mi? Yani 4 tane yazmışsınız ya.
Niçin?
%D tam sayı yazmak için değil mi yani?
Evet.
Bir tane yazsak hepsini tam sayı olarak algılamaz mı?
Algılar. Ama bir tanesi değilse mesela, değil, yani kullanmayacaksın. Zaten yani pek kullanılan bir şey değil bu sonuçta, tek tek yapmak. Ama hani öyle bir şey yazacaksan böyle bir şey kullanabilirsin. Okay, so we have the matrix form. You can write by elements of each element by each line by matrix. Or else you can write by columns or rows, or you can transpose the math to write like this form as you like. Okay? You just change, what does change? Change is just the show, the displacement of the matrix. Right? So you can have the same thing, but just it can manage with the output options. Okay? So you can put this in a script and get the output as you like. Right? So for example, to F radius and the area is 2F new line area. Okay? So what will be the answer? Will be just be this part plus the other one. You can change based on your, for example, how much you want to give a space for the radius and how much you want to give a space with the area. Okay? So you can all control by the fprintf function. Okay? So we have the plots, right? You can just create a plot like this. Just plot, you define the x, y, and you plot x, y, red, and the star, right? So it will be a star. And you can put the x label, y label, title, right? And the axis accordingly. So if you wanted more plots, then you have the vector, right? X 1 to 6 and y is some other values. And you can plot x according to y. Or you can just write y. It will be the same thing because x is from 1 to 6. So these are the options that we did. Blue, cyan, red, green, black, magenta, red, and yellow. Okay? And some other plot symbols or markers. And the line types, dash, dash, dot, dotted, or solid. You can use this. And what you have when you have the figure is the clear CLF, which is the clear the figure window. Okay? Figure creates a new empty figure. All this holds and freezes the current graph, so you can superimpose another one, right? So hold on and hold off. So you have the legend at the corner, which is which one are the vectors to be used, and the grid, which is the grid that displays on the line, right? So it puts a grid on line. So it is have this information. You can have also a bar, or you can have some plot with some legend and grid is on, right? So you can have the sin and cos in one graph. How can you do that? You can just go by using hold on, right? So you plot one in red and O. So you plot the other in blue and plus, right? So you can have this result. Okay? So what we did talk about how to read, write and append to from the files. So if you have some dot files, text files, Excel files, you can use this even digital. You can use any dot files or database files. You can obtain the read. And when you have this function, then you can save it as name, as your variable name, and if you want, you have the ASCII code. Okay? So if you have some random matrix that you need to have, for example, and you want to save it, you save, you give the name of the dot file, okay? Let's say the test file dot, and what you want to save is my max, right? So you save my max, and with the code ASCII. So it will be stored in some test file dot, okay? So when you open by typing this time, right? Okay, you type, and it will give you the answers. Okay? And if you have already a file, like that, and you want to add this new result on top of the other, but don't want to lose them, the first one. What you do, you make the append, okay? You add, you append to the first one. So instead, it doesn't make a new one, but it has this one before, then it appends the other at the end, okay? So you have this one plus this one to add. So every time, for example, you want to add some new data every day, for example, you can append. Okay? So for example, you are taking all the currency every day, okay? You put the $1 for this today. Okay, you take this, write this in the file, you keep this and then append. And the next day you do it again, you append. So at the end you will have every day list of things to do, right? You can do this, or you can do other things that you have. To, for example, write something in your diary, okay? You put in this, and then next day you put in the other day, okay? You add, append and append. So when you have the clear, you clear, right? You have the load to load all the files that you written, okay? And you can have this file already saved. So if you have the saved file, you can load them by using the command load. Okay? Load is very useful if you have the database or any file that you have. So if you want to write, you just write on the file, you just load, and then you can just add this file to save it. Okay? Once we have You will have user-defined functions, right? Let's come to the function. What is function? Function takes the argument and returns the result. Okay? So the result, it begins with the result word function. Okay? It should begin with function. It should begin with the, then you should have the operator equal to, function equal to. Okay? Then the name of the function. Function equal to taking this. Okay? Taking squares. Whatever you give the name. Then it should have the arguments in parentheses. Okay? So the function is equal to name of the function in parentheses inputs. Okay? That's all what you need to write. If you don't write this, the MATLAB doesn't say anything you do. Okay? So based on this, you can write all the functions and then you can call the outputs. So you put the statements, okay, and then the answer. So if you have a function here, what is the function? So it begins with the function. Okay. The output is equal to function name input. Okay.
Kaşe parantez olmayacak mı? Kaşe parantez içinde olmayacak mı? Output kaşe parantez içinde olmayacak mı?
Tekse gerekmez. 2 değilse ya, 2 veya 3 değilse. Daha çok seviyorum. Okay? So, this is what you need to know for the method. Okay? If you need to know this, that's all the functions that you are going to use. All functions are like this. Whatever you call, it begins with the function, output is equal to function name, input, in parentheses. So when you give the input, it's to calculate the output, okay? You know. So let's begin, for example, another function. Now we have 2 inputs. Doesn't matter, right? Yeah, the output is equal to function name, input, input. 2 inputs, 1 output. Calculate using this input and getting the output here. Okay? What we want to calculate is your output, right? It's the output you want to calculate. You can have 3 if you want. Or many, as long as you want. If you need an extra input to compute, you will have this one. Okay? Any question for this? Because it's important, right? If you know this, then you have all the remaining functions to understand. Okay, we have the statements in MATLAB to have the choice in the 2 choices, if and switch. So if we have the if and condition, then we have the action. If this condition is satisfied, we do this. If not, we don't do this at all. Okay? If it satisfies, we do this action. If this condition is not satisfied, we don't do anything. We just pass it. Okay? So, in order to be conditioned, it has 2 cases, right? True or false. If it is true, we do this. If it is false, we don't do this. So, number is -4, if number is 0, which means then if it is less than 0, I will take the absolute value. It is -4, so I took the absolute value and the result is positive, right? But if number is 5, and if number 0 is wrong, so it means that nothing done. So what is the number? Is 5 again. Okay. So we'll use this. And you can also write. So if 5, what is 5?
Input.
If 5. So 5 denotes what? True or false? True. Any value different than 0 is true. Okay? If there's zero, it is false. If there's something, it is true. Okay? So it is true. Yes, this is true. Because if why? Okay? If you have two statement conditions, then you can write with else, combine with else statements, right? So you have condition 1, action 1, else, condition 2, action 2. Okay? So if you have a radius is less than 0, so you can have the variance is not a variance values because you can have -1 radius is not possible, right? Then you can have the answer. So it is easy that if you have some errors, write some error function, it's very nice, right? You will just write the errors function, and if it is negative, there should not be a negative values. So you vary that it's not a valid value, so you can control the error. What else you can do? You can also have, based on the conditions of if this and if that, then you can have the others, right? So if this is greater than this, then the other one. So you can write this many times, the actions together, else if, and at the end you have the else, right? Because there's nothing else if, and then you have the other option. So you have the else if clause. That's what we did, right? If you have x minus 1 will be 1, else if this range you will have the x squared, and else the other option, there's no the third option, so the other option else will be the y is equal to 4, right? That cannot be the first possibility. The thing is either less than -1, either -1 to 2, and either greater than 2. There's no fourth option, right? So you can have the same thing for grades if you like. And the other expression is the switch statement. In this case, we have the cases for switching one to another one. Okay? We don't do if or else, but we do the actions based on that. So if you have, for example, quiz grades, then based on this, we change to the case 10, then we have the grade. So if this, then we switch to that case. If this is that, then go to that case. Okay? We don't care about the other options to be done, options to be fulfilled, okay? But we just need to say, okay, this case is, if this is case is that, then switch on that, okay? Or you can combine the one if you is necessary. Or you can have combine some, display some error, for example, if it is otherwise, right? So you have the case 1, case 3, case 5, but if it is not case 1 or 3 or 5, you can write it otherwise to use another switch. Okay, so otherwise is the switch, which is not the case 1, case 3, or case 5. And so we have some menu function, right? You can have a big pizza, cheese, mushroom, and sausage. So you can use this to have different cases. Case 1, case 2, case 3, and otherwise. Okay? We have this function, which is stating that if this is true or not. Okay? Is letter means that is this a letter? Okay? Yes, right? Because it's a letter. Is letter. Is this a letter? No. Result is false, right? That's simple. It's asking is letter. Let's say we clear, okay? We don't have any function IIIII anymore, right? IIIII is empty. We don't have, so here's the undefined function. We don't know anything about the IIIII, right? But okay, we define an IIIII function which is an empty. Okay? Then we are asking if IIIII is empty. Is empty IIIII? Yes, right? So if you fill something, is empty IIIII? No, because empty IIIII is not empty, right? It's full of something, so it is the other. One very frequently used things of programming in the loops, right? And we have mainly two loops. One is a loop that counts for a specified number of times, 10 times, 100 times. While the other loop is that we don't know, but we have to satisfy a criteria to finish it. Okay? The first one is called the for, and the second is the while statement. Okay? So for is for the counted loop, and the while is for conditional loop. So for example, if we have the for, we have the loop variable, and which is in the range, so which is how many times we are going to use it, for, and we do the action all the time. How many times? Okay, so if I have 10, so you have to do it 10 times. For example, I have this I is the variable, so I will have 1 to 5. Okay, in my range is from 1 to 5. So I will print and the I. Okay, 5 times I'll do this. I'll print f for I is equal to 1, I print f I is equal to 2, then I'll increase 3, 4, and 5. Okay? So if you have the number that we are going to do, this is very nice. Okay? So you can have from 1 to n, you can add the number and so on. Right? So do from 1 to n. You can make it a running product, or you can make a factorial like this. The idea is the same. Okay? Whatever we have also, used in the, you can combine this with if, okay? So okay, we have some for loop beginning from 2 to the length of vec. So what is the vec? Is given in the vector, right? So I'll take this length of this. I'll take the first one out in, and once they are less than this, I'll write in the output and so on. Okay? So which I can find the minimum of the function by using a for loop. Okay? Of course, you can put it in the nested loop, right? For one, I to rows, for j, 1 to columns, so you can have separation of from 1 to first to rows. So you select the first one row, row 1, and then you by column, okay? And then go to the second row and do by column, and so on. So you can change the order as well by changing the order. Or you can write it by multiplication table, right? So you'll have this 1 to rows and 1 to columns. So each one you'll have the multiplication of the group. So you can use the same as group. What did we talk about also? It is we don't need to use loops, we just directly multiply, right? But if there's no way to do it, we can do it by for loops. There are other functions that we also talk about. The vectors is just logical functions, any and all. Any means that which are the true elements in the function vector, and false if they are not. Okay? And the function all says that all true. Okay? If elements are all true, then it says the truth. If one of them is false, then the result is false, right? But any one of them is true, then it is true. But anyone is true, then it is true. All has to be true. Okay? And the important function what was that? It was the find, which is defining the indices of the vector, right? Criterion this condition. So vec greater than 5. Which one?
6, 7.
6 and 7. So it is the indices of 3 and 4, right? You know that this is 6 and 7, but these are the index numbers, not the numbers itself, the index numbers of this vector. Okay? Not just the numbers. Okay, so you can have also an entire matrix or vector can be given as the function, okay? So you can take the sin is the vector form, will be given in the calculating the sin vector, right? So it will be calculating by column, right? Again the same. You can have the efficient method of finding this. So you can obtain also the functions applied to the matrices as well. And what we did also write the functions, right? We have the output, input, and the function array. So if you give calc area 1 to 3, it is a vector, right? But you are expecting a one number, so it's an error. If it is one number, it should be a one number here. If it is a vector, okay, if you define a vector route, then we should have a vector route here. So if you have a vector route here, so your route should be vectorized here. You can. I mean, you can have the route here, it's like this. You can give it like this, but your function should be compatible with this input. Okay? If you don't have this, you can take the same value, route 1 to 3, means that you have a vector 1, 2, and 3, right? So you should have this 1 to 3 times 1 to 3. So you need maybe what you need to do?
Dot.
Dot, right? Exactly. So you should write dot multiplication, right? So you should have correct form. Then you can get to route 1 to 3. Doesn't matter as long as you have this dot here. But if you don't, there's an error. Okay. The other condition is for loop is the while. Okay? In the for we know how far it can go, but in the while we don't. We only know the condition. If this condition happens, do this until this condition does not satisfy. Okay? Because it will begin with this condition and it will stop before the condition is done. So for example, if you give fact is equal to 1 and high is given, okay? So if 1 is less than high,
Again.
so it will do this, right? So it will increase the 1, makes it 2, multiplied by 2 times 5, and then you get it. And so on. So up to some time it will go to take, and then it will be ending at the end, right? Because the fact will not go to as high, so it will be higher than high. Then it's not going to do this, and the output will be the fact. Okay, so this will be another function. So if this and this, so you can have two options as well. And you can put in the if inside, if this is 0. If not, then you will do this and so on. So you can have complex loops, whiles, and thetas as well. So when you have while expert I is not 99,
equal to.
so you will have the increased 1 and you plot the output. So just plots the numbers up to minus 99. So you are stopping when it is going to 99, right? Because when it is, the expert I is 99, minus 99, it's not going to be computed. The easiest one is to find actually, right? You find, and then you find the where, so you can obtain the function. Okay, you can use a counter to count in the loop. Okay, you can make it's what you do, I guess, in C very much. You just make a C counter in C, but you can make it in your MATLAB as well. You just put some number, you can increase according to the while loops. Okay, inside the while loop, so at the end you know how much time you run the while loop. Okay, it's easy, because, or you can do it for error checking the error is satisfying the condition or not. Okay? So we have the other functions of plot, bar chart. You see also the subplot. So what is subplot? Makes the matrix of plots, right? And it gives you the rows and columns and the number of which one, 1, 2, 3, 4, according to the function. So I have the 2 by 2 subplot, and each can be plotted as different functions. Bar horizontal area or stem functions to be plotted. So we have the history as well. So how much to create a histogram? If you don't do anything, it is default by 10. If you write the n, it will be plotted. You have the pi function. You have the animation by doing the comics, right? And you have the animation by movie. And you can skip your movie with your AVI. And you can also have the 3D pilots, lots of things, and you have getting the information to change any function of your plots. Marker size, line size, colors, and everything that you have. You get the information, and then you set the information that what you get with what your problem name. For example, you set your line width to 1.5, okay, so that your plot will be thicker in the plots, okay? So you can set your H1, which is your object, which is your figure, for example, and in your figure you change the line width of lines by 1.5. Or you can do it by like this, just in the plot function, as a command or the line width in the apostrophes. Okay, so we talked about the matrix representations as before again, but we have some special functions of square matrix, and the diagonal is the diagonal of the matrix, right? So we have also the identity matrix, which you can create by using I, right? The function I. Lower triangular and upper triangular matrix, we have the functions of 3u and 3L, right? Triangular upper and triangular lower functions. You know the matrix operations, try to do it again. And we have the function inverse to compute a matrix inverse, right? In function. So you can have the same inverse. And we have also a cross multiplication function to make a cross multiplication instead of dot multiplication. So you can write the functions of linear stem into ax is equal to b, where a is the coefficients, x is the unknowns, and b is the results. So you can put this in the matrix, and you can have no solution, one solution, or infinitely many solutions, so that you can have the result based on taking the inverse of a times b. Okay? So you can use the inverse, or you can use the a divided into b, not divided by b, okay? Divided into b, which is the inverse operator. For determinant, we will have the determinant function, which is set at that, det, okay? Find the determinant that you can use for mathematical expressions or linear algebraic equations. We have also symbolic equations in MATLAB that you can write, define a variable as a symbolic. Then once you write a plus a, you can have the 2 times a. Or when you write the sim x squared, it will give you right x squared. So you can make some combination, x squared, and this will be x to the power of 4. You divide it by it, and you have the ratios. So you have, for example, 5x squared. You add that. So it is just like the x squared equation. So we have some other functions for that. We have the simplifier functions for making simplified equations. We collect the coefficients, expand the multiplier terms. Factor will be the other inverse. We have the subs function to put a value symbolic instead of the other one. Okay, for x, for example, you can use a. For nominal function, you separate numerator and denominator of the function. Okay. So for also another function is called pretty, which is change this x squared to look like this. It's what you like to have, right? So it is look like what you have to see, and you can also plot the functions that you just given as the x squared, x cubed, and 3x squared and minus 2 by putting the plot with using EZ. The S plot is plotting them as the functions, okay? And what you need to find the roots, you just need to say solve. So if you have, for example, the equation that you need to solve, you just write the equations, and the symbol of mathematics solves for you the roots, root 1 and root 2. Okay, very simple. And it is all in the symbolic format. You see, 3/2. If you write 3/2 and enter, it will give you 1.5, right? But you need to change to the doubles, okay? And we said also the mean and max for statistical functions. You have the arithmetic mean, which is mean function. You have the geometric mean, the harmonic mean, which is the geometric mean, which has this har mean and geo mean for this mean functions. For the standard deviation, we have the variance, which is var, okay, and the standard deviation is the SD, which is the STD, standard deviation of the function. If you have this set of values that appear most frequently, what we call this mode. Mode gives you how much this number occurred in the vector. So it is 10. 10 is occurred 4 times, right? So if it is one value that is the higher, we have 2 3s and 2 8s. So which is the minimum one. The mode will be the minimum one, which is 3. And if there is no value other, then it's the minimum one is 1, right? Because everyone is equally. The median is the middle points of the vector. We have 5 elements, so all the elements, it is in the middle, easy. If you have even elements, it is in the average of the middle, okay? So it is the average of the middle. And we have these set functions called the union, intersect, unique, setdiff, and set XOR. So it will be the union of the function will be 2 union of the sets. Intersection is the intersection of 2 sets. And setdiff is the difference between the one set to the another one, or the other one to the first one. Set XOR will be the factors that are not in intersection of the two. And the unique function, this will be the one and only one times passed in one of the two functions, or one of the two vectors. By writing this, you can have the intersection command. You see, you have the 3 outputs, the index 1, 2, and the vector you can obtain by using this intersect function commands. And we have this member function, which is the member of the vector or not, which you can say that this member is the member of this vector or the other one. And you can also have the sorted. So what is sorted? If it is sorted, right? So if this is sorted or not, so you can check the vector if it is sorted, because we have the sort function which sorts any vector into from minimum to maximum. Okay? By default, it begins from the smallest one to the maximum. But if you want to change this, you just write sort back descent. Okay? So it begins with the highest one to the lowest one. So we did this for the vectors, but now in characters, and now we change it in words, but what does it change? It changed by column-wise, okay? So it changed by words. If you change this to 2, and it is the row-wise, but it still doesn't help us, right? So in the case of letters, we use the word function sort rows, that's what we need. And the final thing was the index that we talked already. Actually, we have the index of the vectors, the 2 and the thing. So the 2 of the index is the 70, right? So you can have indexing the vector, and by using the find, you can find the index of the vector. And then we have the binary search. You can have this if this is the binaries are included in this vector. So you have this vector at 6. So you have this, the fourth values will be -4, right? And the spec will be 25, will be the 7th one, and so on. So you have the binary search. Assume that the vector has been sorted first, okay? So you see, let's say you have the function here, right? Just some random numbers, okay? And you are sorted. Okay, actually this is your vector, but you sort it, and you are searching fourth one, okay? Is this sorted or not? Or binary, if you have this, let's say the this function, which is the binary searching function, okay? So let's say that it is the input of the vector and the key, okay? So what does it do? It takes the length of the vector, it takes the minimum, and apply this function, okay? So it is, if it is there, then you take the fee and it assigns the key and so on. So it is just this function explanation.
Türkçe anlayabilir misin? Türkçe anlayabilir misin? Ben de yapalım.
Benimki böyle bir bin saçlı bir fonksiyon mu? Neye yarıyor bu? Bir tane binary arabayı var. Bu fonksiyonu sonucunda anlayacağım bir şeyler çıkıyor. Nasıl aratıyor? Low'a 1 diyor, en aşağısı 1. Yükseğe de vektörün uzuna kadar. Tek tek arayacak ya. Vektörün boyutu kadar length rect diyor, değil mi? Şuradaki hemen örnekleyen bir şeyde gidiyor. Buradaki length rect ne kadar mesela? 7 değil mi?
5 tane çizgi koyarsan
7. 7'lik bir vektörüm var. Burada neye yarayacak? Buna göre her o küçük mü veya ona göre değil mi onu verecek. Ne zaman durmasına göre. Low küçük high'dan, evet değil mi? 1 küçük high'dan. Bunu sağlıyor. Alt inti eksi 1, tamam. O zaman ne yapacak? Ortadaki değer ortalamayı alıyor. Değil mi? Düşükle ortalaması yarısını. Bunu floor yapıyor. Midi 3 olarak buldu ortayı. Yani ortaya bölüp gidecek. Ortaya böldükten sonra bunu neyi arıyorsan, key'imiz burada neydi mesela? 4, değil mi? 4'e arayacağız. 4'ü ise bunu yapacak. Değilse 4 vektör mikten küçük mü? Ona bakacak. O zamansa 1'e ekleyecek. Değilse arttıracak. Yani aralığı her zaman 4'ün bunun içinde olup olmadığı. Değil miymiş? Değil. Bunda ne var? 25. Bunun içinde mi? 7. Evet. Kaçıncı sırada? 7. 5 içinde mi? İçinde. Kaçıncı sırada? 3.
Neden 0 denir eksi 1 diye yanlış olur? Neden 0 denir eksi 1?
Fonksiyona göre yazılmış bu fonksiyon. Out int veriyor. Out int default eksi 1 yapmıyorsa eksi 1'de kalıyor. Başka bir şey yapıp şeyde verebilirsin tabii. Int verirse infinite yani. Okay. So this is the end. of this semester.